All right, so I hope you guys have been doing amazing. So today I want to cover the Arbucep. The Arbucep is the Archgun that came out with Nokko. Nokko's Arbucep is a mushroom missile launcher, and it is able to, well, scale off multi-shot, but the multi-shot doesn't make more projectiles, it's purely more damage. As you can see, it's doing amazing. It hits really hard, and it spreads out in a very wide range, spreading statuses with each one of its blasts that it does. And it also can support arcanes in the form of primary arcanes and secondary arcanes. The arcane you choose really does dictate how you build the weapon, as I am using Enervate and Frostbite because I have cold built onto mine. So I get even more multi-shot and crit damage, which turns into damage and not multi-shot, which is a little bit of a sad thing, but as you can tell, it is hitting stupidly hard. But what happens if I mix some Valence into it? How is that going to change how this weapon feels? So I decided to go with some Blast. I mean, that's in real good. And look at that. But, well, as we can see, it's doing phenomenal against every, basic enemy, even the heavy goons that we're seeing, it's hitting really hard against. But, let's test it against an Acolyte. So, I'll be back whenever we have one that spawns. Alright, so we are having our Acolytes spawn in. Who are we getting? We're getting Violence. Alright, wait for them to appear. Let's reload our thing. So, how does it deal? Oh, they teleported. I mean, that's in really hard, especially for them teleporting around a lot of them. That's amazing. And that was without... Oh, damn, I shouldn't have stood still while I scratched my nose. And that was without having Valence boosting it at all, or any of the blast proc from using Valence. Valence. So I think that hit really hard and quite well. I should probably recall it. Oh, I can't recall it. But we saw it did real good damage, hits really hard against all enemies, and due to it being able to have 6 shots fired out of it at once, it's hitting in a wide range. Oh, here we go. Let's call it back down. So let's see. Let's shoot it again. Oh yeah, I forgot about this part. Let's go and get my item. Let's see what we get. Man, not what I wanted. Not what I wanted at all. But let's go ahead and head to the simulacrum so we can test our build against level 200 enemies and also look at the build in its entirety. So I'll see y'all back at the simulacrum. All right, and here we are in the simulacrum. So I noticed before this part I had messed up my build, so it sadly is a little wrong, but now I have fixed it and now we can cover it properly. But the Arbucep has a unique trait where when it fires its 6 missiles, it will inflict one of each of the secondary elements that it has, and when it strikes one of Nokko's mushrooms, the pulse rate of that mushroom will increase. As well, all multi-shot on this weapon converts into damage. Now, when it comes to the build, actually I should probably have specified. The way the attacks go is Blast, Corrosion, Gas, Magnetic, Rad, Viral. I built this weapon around, well, going Corrosive mainly because I don't have Sabo rounds. Sabo rounds would replace Magnetized Cycle. So we have Primed Torpedo Line Barrel for 187% more damage, Primed Dual Rounds for even more damage, Contamination Casing and Electrified Barrel for Corrosive, Containment Breach for Multi-Shot, which then becomes more damage, but also Radiation, Hollow Bullets for crit damage, since we're using Enervate, Magnetized Cycle for Fire Ray and Magnetic, but this will eventually, if I ever go and farm. Sabo Rounds will be Sabo Rounds, but I don't like farming Profit Taker, and I'm not paying the ridiculous prices for it, and we have Polar Magazine for Cold, so we can get primary Frostbite. So as you see, at all times, we have Corrosive and Cold throughout this entire thing. Now, why is that important? Well, the more multi-shot, as we know, right here, gives you more damage, and having Corrosion across the entire board, if you're going against armored enemies, helps you strip it, and also just go right through it. And primary Frostbite is really good because it gives you crit damage and multi-shot. So let's go test these on some level 200 Steel Path enemies in the simulacrum. So we're going to do some level 200 Scaldra, and since I turned off my buddy's ability to pull enemies in, we're going to pull them in, and we're going to shoot once. As you see, the corrosion spreads and all the other attacks spread thanks to all of them, and then if we just keep shooting, they eventually do all die, and then if we test it on the guy who resists everything, it kills him really, really quickly. Now, as well, since we are using Lavos, what happens if we go for the full shebang? What if we add in Blast to every attack we have? Well, let's just say, boom. It's amazing. The Arbucep is a really good Arcgun, one of the best, if anything. This weapon is amazing. I love how it feels. Now, its acquisition, a little annoying, granted, I'll give it that. Getting it is a little tedious. You need mushrooms for it, but that's fine. Let's head back to the back rooms now. I'll give you my final thoughts on how good the Arbucep really is. And here we are back in the back room. So I wanted to give my thoughts on it since I can now in here not have to hear the background audio of everything, but I can also look at all the heavy weapon options and stuff like that. So when it comes to the Arbucep, I don't have that many options. I used the Larkspur more than every other Arcgun. That's why you don't see a lot of them there. In comparison to the Larkspur, the Arbucep is more of a brunt force, hit right then and there and then spread out. If it had Sabo rounds, it would hit right up front and then go through and hit every other enemy. The Larkspur chains across enemies, so I feel like it could do better in some spots. But overall, if I had to compare the Arcguns to the Arbucep, overall, I think the strongest one still has to be the Arbucep, then maybe the Kuva Grattler. The Larkspur, the Mandinel is really good. The Morga is interesting. It's obviously a flamethrower. Flamethrower, it also does slugs. Am I mixing it up? This is the Mortar Slug one. I think I'm mixing it up with Cortege, which is the flamethrower. Compared to the other ones, the Dual Decurion I heard is very interesting and quite fun to use. But overall, I still think the Larkspur, the Kuva Grattler, the Arbucep, and the Cortege/Morga are really strong options. The Mandinel, I still need to try, but I don't think it's going to do that good. Overall, I think it is a very worthwhile pick up. Like I said, it is a little annoying. You need the stock barrel blueprint and more mushrooms. Each one of those also want mushrooms. It's not a bad grind. It's just a tedious one at that. But at the same time, you're able to get arcane stuff like that. Overall, the Arbucep is easily A to S rank. Arcgun and worthwhile your pickup. Arcanes, they're dependent. Primary Frostbite, in my opinion, is the best option, but I have seen people somehow get away with Primary Crux. I don't think it's worth it. I think it's a bad option because you're not guaranteed your crits. Primary Blight would also be a really good option. It is technically better than Frostbite, but I like the Cold because it helps with your crit on top of that. But Primary Blight is really good if you're using more Toxin than anything else. And then when it comes to the secondary one, Secondary Innovate is still my go-to option. I'd say it's the best option. You could also go Cascadia Flare, maybe Conjunction Voltage for even more multi-shot, which will go into damage. You could even do maybe Cucumber. I don't think Cucumber will be worth it. I feel that Empowered is pretty funny to work with, but overall, I think either Enervate, Joltage, or Flare, maybe even Merciless or Shiver will be your best options. So, tell me guys what you think down below. How would you change it? Obviously, I need Sabo rounds for it to fully benefit from everything, but tell me what weapons you want to see down below, what Warframes, stuff like that. I'm currently in this area where I'm waiting for the next update so I can cover the Devil Warframe we're getting, because I think he will be a very, very interesting frame to use. I will try my hardest when he comes out, by the way, to get him immediately. But I'll see y'all in the next one. Make sure you guys hit that like button and subscribe and turn that bell for post notifications. Peace out.